Good morning, everybody. Guess what time it is? Yes, more peaches. I had 3 boxes, but I went ahead and canned a box yesterday, and I got 12 quarts. 12 quarts, one's in the fridge because it didn't seal. That was my fault. And I also made bread and butter pickles. So we are gonna do a video on canning peaches today. I haven't done one on that. I've done frozen and I've made peach pie filling. These are Tennessee peaches that we got from Edward's Orchard over in Banner Springs, Tennessee. So let's get started. Hope you'll stay and hang around with me. Hey guys, let's start canning some peaches. First we need to set the kitchen up, and I like to be organized. It's not my best character, but it is something that I do. Character trait is not organization, but when it comes to canning, I am very organized because I like it to go smoothly and everything is where it needs to be. Okay, so first what I like to do is get my jars ready. They're all washed, sanitized, and filled with warm water. And then I've got my pan over here with cold water in it, and I'm going to put 4 trays of ice cubes in there because we're going to use that to shock after we blanch our peaches. So let's move this up here so you can see where I am. Okay, I've got a towel down here because I've been spilling water. I've got my pot full of hot water, and it's almost to boiling. You just kind of want it to simmer because what we're going to do is put these peaches in there and we're going to blanch them for 30 to 60 seconds. These are, I can feel a little ripe than they were yesterday, so I'm going to just do it for 60 seconds. And what this does is just loosen that skin so we can peel it off really easy. You don't want them to cook because then they'll be kind of mushy. So I'm going to go ahead and pop these in here, as many as I can. Aren't these gorgeous? Look at these peaches. Oh, beautiful. I could just see someone painting a still life with these peaches. So pretty. All right. So I'm going to pop what I can in here without overflowing. Maybe one more. And then we'll do that second round. And in the meantime, I've got my water bath canner over here. I don't have it on, but I do have it filled with water. Once I'm done with this, I'll move that over there and get that on to simmer. Now, with canning peaches, I like to use a simple syrup, and you can find that in your Blue book. And I usually use extra light or light, and that is 2.5 cups of water to 2 cups of sugar. Now, yesterday I made that, but then I also made spiced peaches. So you can kind of be creative with this. And you know me, I like to be creative and messing around with spices and stuff. So I added to the simple syrup cinnamon, cardamom, and ginger. Now, if you don't want the spices in there floating around, which doesn't bother us, you can put that in a little spice bag or a piece of gauze and just simmer it in your pan with your simple syrup and just bring it out when you're ready. Or use cinnamon sticks, and then you can just pop them out when if you don't want them in there. And also what I've done before is put a cinnamon stick in each one of my jars and then just put the simple syrup on top of the peaches and the cinnamon stick. And that does really well, and just keep it in there and just can it with the cinnamon stick. And it's really pretty that way too. I've seen people put rosemary and basil, and just, you can kind of do anything you want to with peaches. They can kind of, even though they're a sweet fruit, you can use them in a savory dish like you saw when I made the peach salsa. That was so good. And I saw a recipe the other day for watermelon salsa, and I thought, oh, I might try that. So if you see that coming up, you'll know I did it. So anyways, 30 seconds here. I think we're right at that point. Let me go ahead and back this up, see what I'm doing. I'll put these ice cube trays in here. This just keeps the water really nice and cold. I don't know what that is. And All right, there we go. All right, so we've got that. And let me get my, I don't know what this tool is called. I know it's called something, but I found it at the thrift store. I have a plastic one, but it doesn't do quite as good as this. All right, so we're just going to pop these. Right, let me back that so you can actually see what I'm doing here. Pop these right in that cold water. And again, this is called shocking. And what it does is it stops the cooking process. Because we just want this to where the skin is a little loose and it just peels off really nice. So I'm going to go ahead and put all of these in here, start the second batch. And once they're all done, look at that, with that pretty. Like I said, I got these at Edward's Orchard. But once I'm done with everything, I will meet you over at the table where I've got everything ready. And let me just tell you, you're going to want to wear an apron when you do peaches because they do get sticky. So I will see you in a couple seconds over at the table, ready to can the peaches. Okay, so I thought I was recording and I guess I wasn't because the video went off. But we've got our peach here, the first peach. This one has the pit in it. And because of that, I just go ahead and I cut right next to the pit. And if it doesn't want to come off, I just go ahead and I put my knife right up to the pit. And you'll see each one of those slices comes off really easy. Perfect. Because you don't want to squish your peaches. There we go. And then the last one will break off really nice. And I just put it in there. So that's one whole peach in the jar. And I just kind of shake it down. That way we've got more room. And then we'll just do that again. That one came off really easy. And we're just going to go ahead and take that skin off. And like I said, you can go ahead and can these halves. I like to do those in the wide mouth jars because it's a lot easier. But see how pretty that is? That would be beautiful in there. But because I'm using this regular mouth, I'm going to go ahead and slice them. And they'll be perfect for pies or cobblers. I really was so happy to get these peaches. Willis is always on the lookout for me for peaches every year, and he hasn't been going down to Florida much where we can get them from Georgia. And he got me that one box from Memphis, if you saw the video earlier this year that I did, and I made peach pie filling. They were really, really ripe, and they did pretty good. But I really like these peaches because I got them last Thursday. Today is Monday, and they were right off the tree. And he had asked me if I was gonna eat them or can them. I said, no, I'm gonna can them. So you want them a little bit, not underripe, but hard, if that makes sense. You see how nice and firm that peach is? I guess that's the best word, firm. So with the 25-pound box that I did yesterday, I was able to get out 12 quarts, which I think is great. And I like to give these away at Christmas time. People in my family and my friends usually really like to have fresh things from the pantry. So I try to give things like that away. And it's also nice because a lot of people say, what do you need all those peaches for? Well, I like to give them away. And I like people to share the joy of having fresh fruit. Even though it's canned, we did it ourselves. After I get all these peaches done today, hopefully I can get through both boxes. I'm not going to make you guys sit here for sure for that. But if I can get through both these boxes, tomato season will be right around the corner. So I have got to deep clean this kitchen because between the corn, the pickles, and the peaches, it is a mess. Sticky. When I was a kid in Virginia, we had, let's see, 6 cherry trees and dams and plums, but the cherry trees always made such a mess. I had 3 brothers, and we'd all sit in the little kitchen, and we would sit there and pit those cherries by hand. And I tell you what, it was cherry juice in your eye, cherry juice in your ear, cherry juice in your nose. Never seemed to hit your mouth though, where you want it to. But they were sour cherries, so. But we always had a sticky mess. My stepmom and I talk about it all the time, how we really have great memories of canning together. That was fun. But it was always a sticky mess, and it would take her a week to clean that kitchen up after we were done. To start on what coming in next from the garden. And Dad always had a huge garden, 2 acres of garden, and it was always something coming in back to back. And so she and I would clean it up. She mostly cleaned it up, but I would help her, mopping the floors, counters, everything, just scrubbing it all down for the next harvest. But anyways, there are your peaches. I believe it was 3 peaches filled this jar. You want it to be about a 1/2 inch headspace, which is from the top down about a 1/2 inch, 1/2 to 1/4 inch. I've seen it 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch, so it's kind of right there in the middle. I'm going to set that one aside, and I'll start on jar 2. So once I get these jars filled, guys, I'll be back, and we'll show you how to make the simple syrup and can your peaches. Okay, guys, I have all my jars filled with my peaches, and I have got my simple syrup on, and I'll have that recipe in the description box. And I made a little bit extra this time because I wanted to go all the way up here. You want it to go to where your 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch headspace is, your fluid. And this is just going to be regular. I'm not going to put any spices in this time. And we are going to go ahead and put a 1/4 teaspoon of fruit fresh. Like I said, you can use lemon juice too. That's up to you. But I usually now you can put this on all the peaches and toss them in a bowl. You can do it that way too. But I like to put a 1/4 teaspoon of this fruit fresh in my jars on top of my peaches. It seems to do a really good job. They taste good, and it keeps them nice and yellow. Okay, I'm just waiting for my simple syrup over there to boil, and I'll go ahead and mix it with my whisk. Sorry, I've got this in the way, but I've just got it over here. Just making sure all of the sugar is melted. And I also have my water bath canner on medium, so it's going to be warm because this simple syrup is going to be hot. So you want hot to hot. Always remember that when you're canning. And I like to bring that to a boil. And I'll have my canning funnel. And let me see, where is I guess it's probably in the dishwasher. Let me go get my ladle. Okay guys, you know me, I'm always very cautious when it comes to hot water. And this is hot sugar water, so you want to be careful when you're putting this in your jars. Okay. So I'm using my canning funnel, and it usually takes about 2 ladlefuls to get there. And if I don't have enough of the sugar water, you can always add a little more hot water at the end, like you would pickles. So, but usually this does fill them up. This is 7 jars. Or you could make a double batch of the sugar water. I mean, that's up to you. But what I usually do, because this is not extra light. It's a light simple syrup. So this was 3 cups of water to 2 cups of sugar. So it is pretty sweet. Willis likes his peaches sweet. And so I usually try to accommodate. But I think because I made 7, I'm going to have to go ahead and make a little bit more of the simple syrup. So, well, that's fine because I'll show you how to do it. All right. So let me find my cup measure over here. Hold on one second. Let's get over here. I'm just using tap water. So I'm going to just make a regular recipe. So it'll be 2 cups. And I don't mind doing this because I'm going to be doing peaches all along. 2 1/4 cup. I just eyeballed that. And let me grab the sugar. I went through the... And probably what I'm going to do with the rest of the peaches is go ahead and freeze them. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this back on the stove. You just want to put that in there and you just want to stir it around, making sure it's all nice and mixed up. Okay, sorry for that little intermission, but it took about a minute for this to come up to a boil. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this up with my simple syrup, which is sugar water boiled. That's a simple syrup. If you were making a drink, a cocktail, and it calls for simple syrup, that's exactly what this is. So I'm just filling all these up to my 1/2 inch. They're all still nice and warm. Just check on these guys over here. And like I said, this wasn't a problem making more because I'm going to be doing some more canning of these peaches later on. I'm going to can the rest of this box, which will probably be another 7. And then I will probably freeze the rest. We'll see. See what I feel like doing. All right, well, guys, that was perfect. So, if you make this recipe and you're canning 7 quarts of peaches, sliced peaches, you're going to want to make double the simple syrup recipe. That was perfect for this. Okay, so now we've got everybody filled up. We put our fruit fresh in there, or your lemon juice, whatever you want. Now you're going to go ahead and take a clean cloth, or in my case, a paper towel, and you're going to wipe your rims. Now, some people do white vinegar. That's up to you. I've always done it this way, and it's done a good job. I've tried the vinegar, which I didn't see any difference in the shelf life or anything, or the canning, or the sealing. So, whatever you feel comfortable with. But make sure when you are wiping it off, you get the rim, the top, and the round where your seal, your ring is going to go rather. Because especially when you're doing something that's sticky like this, the sugar will make it sticky, and you want to be able to have everything sealed. So, I think we're good to go. And you don't want any little pieces of, like, peach or anything there, too. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and take our our lids. Got rings on the brain today. Put every one of the lids on here. And like I said, they are the same temperature. Everybody's warm. And you're going to put your rings on. You're going to hand tighten them. That doesn't mean loose. Oh, it's raining. I didn't even know it was raining today. I was just talking to my stepmom in Virginia. She got good news. She doesn't have to have a third surgery, so thank you, Lord. We were so happy to hear that. Now, I think I may have a little bit too much water in there, so let's ahead and get some of that water out while we're doing this. We don't want the overflow by any means. That would be bad. When you're using a water bath canner, you do want your water to be at least an inch above your jars once they're all in. So I don't think I'm going to have to add any more. For sure, I'll probably have to take it a little bit more. Because once it comes to a boil, you don't want it to be splattering all over the place. But you do want it to continuously boil. Oh, I'm just so happy to get these peaches. When she said, my stepmom said, her and her friend Shirley, if you're watching, maybe going to go get peaches too. We all love this time of year. I was just up there last week when she had her second surgery, and I said, if I had ripe peaches, I would have brought her some. I actually took her a couple, but I didn't get to take her a box. All right, let me get a little bit more of this out. And this is normal when you're canning. You know, you just got to do what you got to do to make it right. All right, I think we're about an inch. Okay, there you go. Let me bring this over so you can actually see what inside. There you go. It's about an inch, okay, above. So we're going to go ahead and put this on high, and we're going to let it come to a full rolling boil with the lid on. When it comes to a full rolling boil, you're going to go ahead and let it process for 35 minutes, and that's according to the Ball Blue Book. And if it gets a little crazy, you know, like it's splattering all over the place, I'll back down the temperature just a bit, but you do want it to be a rolling boil. Okay, so when it gets to that point, guys, I will be back. Okay, guys, I wanted to show you what a rolling boil looks like, just in case you're not familiar with that. I know not everybody knows everything, so if you do know, it's just a reminder. This is a rolling boil where the water is constantly moving and you couldn't stir it down with a spoon if you tried. So, of course, I won't try that because it's got all these jars in there. But that's what we're going to keep this on for 35 minutes. You can keep the lid on or you can take it off. But I always like to keep my lid on and maybe just crack it a little bit. So, we'll be back in 35 minutes. Or a little bit. I'm going to let them rest in here. Okay, everybody. Well, here are my 7 jars of canned peaches. I went ahead. My tongue got tied. Went ahead and turned them off from the heat. I just slid it off the heat. This burner kind of stays hot. But anyway, that's up to you. And I let them cool for about 10 minutes before I brought them out into the air. Again, if you've got air conditions going, you may want to turn them off for 10 minutes and then bring them out. And then wait another 10 minutes and turn them on. Because you want these jars to get acclimate to the ambient air. So, this is it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching it with me and hanging out. Hope you like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for all my subscribers. I really appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon, and let me get back to the rest of those peaches. Have a great day. Lazy K Mountain Homestead.